The chamber of the Galactic Council was vast and cold. Every species in the known spiral arm had sent a representative, their voices once united in the illusion of peace. That illusion ended the moment Earth's name was mentioned. For centuries, the humans had been the newest yet most troublesome addition to the Council. They asked questions others feared to ask, challenged rules written before their species learned fire, and refused to kneel before empires older than their sun. At first, they were treated as naive upstarts. Then they became something worse, an unpredictable power. The Council's patience ran thin when human colonies began expanding into unapproved zones. The Council declared sanctions, blockades, and eventually military enforcement. But humanity did not submit. Instead, they warned. The message from Earth's leader was short and cold. Do not harm our people. The Council ignored it. When the fleets arrived to enforce compliance, they found empty human stations. At first, it seemed Earth had surrendered without a fight. Then the signals started coming in. Council patrols vanished. Communications relays went dark. Entire sectors went silent. No one knew what was happening, until the first survivor was found drifting in a ruined ship. His words spread across the Council like wildfire. They didn't run. They watched us come, and then they hunted us. Within days, reports flooded in from every corner of the Outer Rim. Human warships, black and silent, had appeared out of nowhere. They didn't broadcast identification codes, they didn't negotiate, and they didn't take prisoners. They struck with precision and vanished like ghosts. No one could understand how. The humans had never been this powerful, or this merciless. When the Council convened again, fear hung in the air. The oldest member, a scaled being with a voice that trembled, finally spoke. This retaliation is unacceptable. They must be stopped. But the younger delegates said nothing. They had seen what Earth could do. The Council sent envoys to negotiate. None returned. Then, after 3 weeks of silence, every screen in the Council chamber lit up. The seal of Earth appeared, a blue sphere wrapped in a white orbit. Then came a voice, calm, steady, human. You declared war when you attacked our people. You targeted civilians. You burned our colonies. Now you will learn what that means. The transmission cut off. The next day, the retaliation began. It started in the Galactic War system. The Council's defense fleet was stationed there. 12,000 ships, a force that had never been defeated. They faced an unknown enemy formation approaching from the dark side of the gas giant. At first, the sensors detected only debris, then faint energy spikes. The Admiral ordered long-range scans. Before they could finish, the void lit up. A wave of kinetic slugs, hundreds of thousands, ripped through space. The first barrage tore through shields like paper. The second wave shattered command ships. The third wave hit the supply carriers, igniting fuel cores that burned brighter than stars. Within minutes, the fleet was gone. No survivors. No signal, only fragments drifting in silence. The Council called it a tragedy, but those who saw the battle feeds called it something else. A massacre. The humans didn't stop there. Mining worlds loyal to the Council found their orbital defenses hacked, turning their own guns against their cities. Shipyards constructing dreadnoughts exploded from within, sabotaged before they ever launched. The Council tried to trace the source of these attacks, but the trail always ended in the same place. Earth, and yet, Earth's transmissions were always brief and measured. We warned you. You chose violence. Now you face consequence. For a species the Council once mocked as primitive, humans were proving terrifyingly efficient. They used no exotic energy weapons. No ancient alien tech, just raw physics, cunning, and an understanding of war that no one had expected. When the Council attempted to launch a counterstrike, they discovered that their data networks were already compromised. Their own navigation arrays misdirected their ships into dead sectors, where human ambushes waited. It was as if every move had been predicted. In truth, it had been. The humans had prepared for this years before joining the Council. Quietly, they had mapped every trade route, every military corridor, every political weakness. They had studied every species' tactics and psychology. When humanity was provoked, they didn't react with emotion. They reacted with strategy. Across the galaxy, worlds began questioning the Council's leadership. Some species withdrew their fleets, unwilling to die in a war that no longer seemed just. Others secretly reached out to humanity, offering aid or information. It was said that when humans fight, they fight to win. But this was something else entirely. This was retribution forged in silence. The council grew desperate. They launched a plea for peace. No reply came. A month later, the human fleet appeared in orbit above the council's capital world. Massive vessels blotted out the stars, sleek, angular, and silent. Their hulls bore no markings, only the faint shimmer of kinetic shielding. The council activated every planetary defense system. Turrets powered up, shield grids flared, fighters scrambled, and then the human flagship spoke. "This is not war. This is justice." The fleet opened fire, not on the cities, not on civilians, but on the orbital defense rings. Every strike was precise, deliberate, sparing lives while dismantling the council's power piece by piece. The battle lasted 9 minutes. When it was over, the council's fleets were in ruins. Their world hung defenseless. From the flagship, a transmission was sent directly to the chamber. "You called us savages. You thought mercy was weakness. You mistook patience for fear. You burned our colonies to remind us of our place. Now remember yours." The silence that followed was heavy enough to crush the air. The oldest counselor tried to speak, but his voice broke. Another rose to demand surrender, but the words died in his throat. For the first time, the rulers of the galaxy understood what fear truly meant. The humans did not demand tribute. They did not occupy worlds. They simply said one thing: never touch Earth again. Then the fleet vanished into the void. Days passed. The council tried to rebuild, but whispers spread faster than repair drones. Species once loyal began breaking away, declaring neutrality or independence. They had seen the power humanity wielded, and the restraint they chose to show. On Earth, the mood was somber. The retaliation had been swift and brutal but necessary. The leaders met in quiet chambers debating what to do next. They knew the galaxy would never see them the same way again. For centuries, humanity had been underestimated, called reckless, emotional, primitive. Now they were feared, and that fear would shape the future of every world that once mocked them. In the ruins of the council's capital, an envoy from a smaller species approached a surviving delegate. "What will they do now?" the envoy asked softly. The counselor stared at the sky, where burned fragments of ships still drifted. "Nothing," he whispered. "They don't need to do anything. The galaxy will remember." And indeed it did. Over the following months, reports circulated of human fleets aiding worlds that had refused to join the war. They delivered food to shattered colonies, rebuilt communication hubs, and escorted refugees to safety. They had destroyed armies, but they also healed what the council had broken. That was what made the galaxy tremble most. Humanity was not simply strong, they were deliberate. They could destroy empires, yet choose compassion afterward. It was power wrapped in conscience, and that made them untouchable. For generations, no one dared provoke Earth again. Trade resumed, borders were redrawn, and the council, reduced and humbled, reformed under new principles of equality. Every species was granted a vote, every colony a voice. The first proposal passed was simple: no world shall ever be punished for defending its own. At the signing, a human diplomat attended, not as a conqueror, but as a witness. The council's new leader turned to him. "We feared you would destroy us," the human replied. "Destruction was never our goal. Understanding was. You only learn it when you lose something precious." The counselor bowed his head. "You taught us that lesson well." From that day, the galaxy spoke of Earth in hushed tones, not as savages, but as guardians whose fury was matched only by their restraint. In the decades that followed, humanity became both legend and warning. Their ships patrolled the borders silently, ensuring peace through presence alone. Young species grew up hearing the same story told across every world: how the council once mocked Earth, and how that arrogance nearly ended them. And in the quiet that followed, one truth echoed across the stars. Humans were dangerous not because they loved war, but because they understood its cost. They fought not to dominate, but to ensure no one else would ever decide their fate again. When the council gathered once more, their new seal bore a single phrase beneath the star of Earth: respect, not fear. The galaxy thrived again. Trade flourished. Wars faded into memory. Yet in every heart the image remained: the day the sky burned above the council's world, and humanity stood alone against the combined might of civilizations older than time. No one ever forgot how they had been warned. No one ever forgot the words that started it all: do not harm our people. Those words became sacred law throughout the stars, and in the quiet depths of space, Earth watched, silent, patient, ready, because they remembered what the galaxy had once called them, savage, and they had shown what that truly meant.